for the first of many, many times over the next month, I need to ask, gentlemen, are y'all ready to count them up?
Let's go.
As much as I think it's the under is a safe play, like I can't even.
Count them up. Count them up. How many games y'all gonna win this fall?
I can't fathom 8 wins.
How many games y'all gonna win this fall?
I just can't. I don't see it. It's not on there. It's not the schedule I'm looking at. Unless there's another schedule somewhere.
And boy, the Louisville Cardinals do wish they had another schedule. They played. That, of course, being the reference from our own Barton Simmons, the general manager of Vanderbilt football. When we were going through win totals, I want to say that was the 18 season. It was the first year without Lamar, and it was the year that the bottom fell out for Bobby Petrino at the end of the year. So, yeah, that was not going to be an over for the Cardinals. But what we want to know is the Utah Utes. Utah right now at FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make every moment more, has a win total of 9.5 with the over juiced at -144, under at +118 if you want to fade Kyle Whittingham's squad. The non-conference, you're looking at the, Southern Utah, Utah State, and then do we have the conference game that's not a conference game here?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, the Arizona game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Baylor.
Oh, Baylor is the conference game that's not a conference game. Okay, so it'd be Southern Utah, Baylor, and Utah State. In terms of the home and away splits, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 road games. 9.5 though for a group that returns Cam Rising. Tom, where's your starting point when looking at the Utah Utes?
Well, I mean, the starting point is they're a very good team, and I think that they're one of the favorites to win the league. So there's a good chance they're going to win a lot of these games. I don't know about you guys, but when I was going through the Big 12, doing my win totals for this and going game by game and picking winners, like there are so many coin flips in this league, and we've talked about it, we've hammered it, but it was really driven home going through where it's just you're looking at it and you're just like, well, I'll just give the home team the edge here. This was Utah to me was one of the few teams where they had road games on the schedule against tougher opponents where I thought, well, Utah can win that game and Utah probably should win that game. So, well, this is not one that I'm going to, when we do the locks pod to end this all up, this is probably not one I'm going to be taking, but I do have them going over, if even only slightly, because I look at the schedule. They start with Southern Utah and Baylor. They should win both of those games. Utah State on the road, they just fired Anderson, so I'm thinking Utah State's going to be in trouble. And even if they didn't have a coaching change, I still think Utah's winning that game. The first real test to me is going to be at Oklahoma State. If they lose that game, I still see them being able to get to the over because the rest of the road schedule is Arizona State, Houston, Colorado, and then UCF to finish the year, which I think outside of that Oklahoma State game is the toughest road game they're going to face all season. They have a very veteran quarterback in Cam Rising who is 47 years old and has been there for a very long time. Defensively, they're going to be sound. It's just in a league in which we are going to see so many close games. A veteran QB and a good defense are going to do a lot of work for you. So I've got them at 10-2. I'm taking the over 9.5.
Totally. I don't think this is like a great bet, but if I had to bet it, I would bet the over for a couple reasons. One, FanDuel actually has the best price to go over in the market. I looked at 7 books this morning, and FanDuel has the best price to go over. So, obviously, our partner FanDuel, if you're going to bet the under, hint, hint, I probably would not bet the under here on this one, right? So, some places are like juiced 160. This is only 144 to the over. This may be a theme, by the way. I think FanDuel is very like, hey, bet the over on these Big 12 teams here and under elsewhere. I basically like plugged it into my model and it's like, all right, what level does Utah need to play at to go 10-2? And they basically need to play at, by my numbers, at like a top 15 level team. That is entirely consistent with what they were on a power rating standpoint for like the 4 or 5 years prior to Cam Rising getting hurt. So Conley had him, where are we at here? Sorry, Conley. 12th in 22, 15th in 21, 15th in the COVID year, 16th in 2019. So am I confident that Kyle Whittingham, with a 25-year-old quarterback and getting Brent Keithy back and getting everybody back on the defensive line is worth a damn. Can do that pretty much. Yeah. I think they can go undefeated at home.
Oh yeah.
Which is important. I mean, Iowa State at home is not a gimme. TCU at home is not a gimme. Arizona's at home is not a gimme. But I do think that they are, a touchdown plus in those games. And it's hard to win at Utah unless you're like an Oregon level talent. And then you got 3 road games that I think are real road games. Oklahoma State, Colorado, and UCF. You get Colorado late, which I'd rather play Colorado late than early due to attrition purposes. Can you go 2-1 in that slate, steal one of Oklahoma State and UCF? I think probably so. But yeah, I'm going to go over. Sorry for being so long.
No, 0 certified losses.
Yeah, they're favored in bowl games.
0 certified losses. It's one of my strongest opinions on the Big 12 is the Utah over. Obviously, at 9.5, I'm having to pay for it, but I feel really, really good about that, where I will give Utah the opportunity to go be a road warrior at Colorado and at UCF, where like, can they get to 10-2? Absolutely. Because I'm looking at this one as a potential 11-1 type scenario. You've got the differences between, what Utah is going to be from the projections that are really factoring in last season's results without any context. And then you apply some context and you're like, which means we should be even a step higher than this. So I feel like Utah going over right here. I mean, winning the Big 12 is going to be tough just because they don't play Kansas State. It's one of the reasons why an over is a good choice here. Oklahoma State, that is going to be tough. You might have to beat them twice or play them twice in order to win the Big 12. So, conference title outlooks find me less, bullish on this. But from the specifics of 9.5 for the Utah Utes in year 1 of the Big 12 in this schedule, I love going over.
If this goes wrong, it's because the secondary could not sustain the losses of Vaki and Bishop, who were 2 elite level safeties. They already have Demooney out for the year, I think, due to a spring injury. They get Kareem Reed. They have Lander Parton there. So I think they're still probably pretty good at linebacker. But back 7 depth is a question for me. Offensive line depth is another question. But they were so banged up on the D-line last year, and they still played pretty decent defense. 24th in Conley's SP+, FPI's defensive efficiency had them decent. Like, now you return your top, 9 guys by snap count on the D-line, and you add a Utah State transfer who had double-digit tackles for loss last year. Like, I think there's a good chance Utah beats up a lot of people up front defensively.
Daniel Cannell is also on the over 9.5, so bit of a clean sweep here.
Or if Rising doesn't stay healthy. I mean, clearly.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, bud. Let's keep that, especially when we're all in sync. If it goes wrong, here's where it is. I think that's good context for people.
Count them out.